Have you ever stopped to question whether the world around you is exactly as it seems? You walk through life assuming that the ground beneath your feet is solid, that time moves in a fixed, linear path, and that your thoughts are entirely your own. But if you pause for just a moment, if you truly start to pay attention, you might notice something unsettling. Tiny cracks begin to form in the certainty of your perceptions. Nothing dramatic, just small, almost imperceptible inconsistencies that hint at a deeper mystery. Take a mirror, for example. You glance at your reflection daily, trusting it to show you exactly how you appear. But have you ever considered that you've never actually seen your real face? Every reflection is reversed, every photograph a distortion, every memory of yourself an imperfect recollection. And yet you still believe you know precisely what you look like. But should you? Your mind isn't presenting reality. It's curating a version of it. Your eyes don't capture every detail. They gather fragments and let your brain fill in the blanks, creating a smooth, seamless illusion. Your ears ignore most sounds, allowing only what seems necessary to slip through. Even your memories, those deeply personal recollections that define you, are nothing more than constantly rewritten stories, subtly altered each time you recall them. And time is one of the greatest illusions of all. An hour of monotony drags on endlessly, while a year can vanish in an instant. Some moments stretch as if frozen, others disappear without a trace. The past feels concrete, but is it really? Neuroscientists have found that each time you remember something, your brain reconstructs the experience, adjusting details and filling in gaps. Over time, your memories shift, evolving into something that may bear little resemblance to what actually happened. The past you trust so completely may not exist as you remember it. This idea isn't just speculation. In the 20th century, cognitive scientist Donald Hoffman proposed a radical theory. What if we don't see reality at all? What if everything we experience is merely a simplified interface designed by evolution, not to show us the truth, but simply to help us survive? In this view, the world as we perceive it, colors, objects, even space and time, is nothing more than a functional user interface, like icons on a computer screen. The truth, if it exists at all, lies hidden beneath this carefully constructed illusion. So, if your brain is filtering, editing, and distorting everything you perceive, then what is real? If the world appears solid only because you've never questioned it deeply enough, how much of your existence is simply a trick of the mind? Now let's take a step deeper. Consider dreams. When you're inside one, it feels as real as waking life. You don't question its logic, its physics, or its inconsistencies. Only when you wake do you realize how bizarre it all was. But what if waking life is just another dream? A more stable, consistent one, but still a construct of the mind. Philosophers have debated this for centuries. Plato's allegory of the cave suggested that humans live like prisoners, mistaking shadows on a wall for reality. René Descartes took it further, pondering the possibility of an all-powerful deceiver feeding us false experiences, making us believe in a world that isn't really there. And now, science is beginning to catch up. The infamous double-slit experiment in quantum physics revealed something baffling. Particles behave differently when observed, as if reality itself shifts depending on whether someone is watching. If mere observation alters reality, then what does that say about the nature of existence? If particles of light can exist in multiple states until they are observed, then could the same be true for the world around us? Could our perception be shaping reality rather than merely recording it? Even our sense of self is up for debate. Your brain is not a singular entity. It's a network of systems working together, each responsible for different aspects of your consciousness. Neuroscientists have documented cases where brain injuries completely alter a person's personality, beliefs, or sense of identity. If a small physical change can transform who you are, then what does that say about the stability of you? And here's where things get even stranger. Some theories suggest that consciousness, the thing that makes you, isn't generated by the brain at all. Instead, it might be more like a signal that the brain receives rather than something it produces. This could explain certain mysteries of human experience: intuition, out-of-body experiences, even the deep-seated feeling that there's more to existence than what we perceive. If your brain is filtering reality, then what is it hiding from you? There's a condition known as blind sight, where individuals who are clinically blind due to brain damage can still detect movement and navigate obstacles without consciously seeing them. Their eyes function, but the part of their brain responsible for processing sight is damaged. And yet, something within them still perceives. If this is true for vision, then could there be other forms of perception we are unaware of? Could there be elements of reality surrounding us that our brains simply aren't wired to detect? Take it even further. Have you ever felt someone watching you, only to turn around and catch their gaze? Or had a gut feeling that something was about to happen before it did? Science dismisses these as coincidences. But what if they're not? What if they're glimpses of something beyond our normal perception? Things our minds usually filter out. The human brain discards enormous amounts of information every second because if it didn't, we'd be overwhelmed. You'd notice every sound, every flicker of movement in your peripheral vision, every temperature change. Your brain cuts out anything deemed irrelevant. But what if, just for a moment, something slipped through? Something you weren't supposed to perceive? Here's an unsettling thought. The human eye can only see 0.035% of the electromagnetic spectrum. That means 99.996% of all light and energy is completely invisible to us. Infrared, ultraviolet, radio waves, X-rays, all around us, yet undetectable. Now apply that principle to perception itself. What if consciousness is only a sliver of something much larger, something we are not designed to see? And then, there's the idea that reality isn't external at all. Some of history's greatest minds have suggested that consciousness plays a direct role in shaping the universe. Theoretical physicist John Wheeler proposed that reality might only exist because we observe it. Ancient spiritual traditions have echoed this idea for centuries, describing life as a dream, an illusion, a projection of the mind. So, if your brain constructs your version of reality, what happens when you stop accepting the script it gives you? What happens when you question the blueprint of existence itself? Consider déjà vu, the eerie sensation that you've lived a moment before. Some scientists explain it as a glitch in neural processing, a brief mix-up of memory. But isn't it unsettling that your mind can make you feel as though you've experienced something before, when logically you haven't? If your brain can fabricate such a sensation, what else is it capable of creating? And here's the final question. If everything you perceive is filtered, if your memories are unreliable, if even the present moment is already in the past by the time you experience it, then where do you truly exist? Maybe reality isn't something you live in. Maybe it's something your mind is constantly generating, like a dream you haven't woken up from yet. So, if nothing is as real as it seems, the real question isn't what is reality, it's who is the one watching.